This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sara Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sara.
Welcome everyone to Visionary Psychics. I'm Sara Wiseman, and today we have with us Rachel MILNE. And Rachel is really, among other things, she's really an extraordinarily gifted clairvoyant. She has this ability to just not just know, but also to see and describe what she receives. So I'm just delighted to be able to work with her today. Thank you for coming, Rachel.
Thank you, Sara. For that beautiful introduction. I'm humbled.
Yeah, no, I've always been amazed how when we are doing this group work and I'm like, Rachel, what are you receiving? And you're just so spot on. It's just amazing. I'd love it if you would just tell us how your intuition or how your psychic nature, your healer nature kind of sprang upon you in your life and what you're most interested in, working with now. Like what is your passion in this work, kind of, but how it started and what you're interested in now?
I think when it started for me, I was very young and I knew things. I knew how people felt, even when they weren't saying what they were feeling. And there would be conflict with that. I think I know something, but nobody's saying this. So I didn't allow that to be a real part of my life. I didn't give it any attention or awareness until I was older. And I started studying something called emotion code and body code work, and which uses intuition as part of the practice. And I started getting messages. I started hearing what the soul lesson was for this person that I was working with. And at first it was like, do I share this? I don't know how this is received. But then I couldn't not do it. It just, it felt like it was like I was being used for that. And so that became the real focus of the work that I was doing. And so I was really shifting more of my practice towards helping people to hear that voice and to connect with that voice, and to source their lives from that place, that relationship, that deep relationship.
When you were working, so in this case, you might have been touching a person or working energetically on their bodies. When you found that soul lesson that just sprang to your knowing, and then when you told them about it, was their response usually surprise, or was it more like what I tend to receive is people will say like, that's funny you mentioned that, or you're like, okay, we know we hit something. But what do you notice that how do people respond?
I did most of my work remotely. So I did occasional work in person, but I didn't do any touching. And so people would be amazed by the things that I knew, like, wow, how did you know that? Or, yeah, that's been something that's been going on for me for a while. And I didn't bring it up because I didn't think about it. I didn't think we could work with it, whatever it may be. So it was very affirming to be able to share the message and people to really resonate with it, because that's when we could get into the meat of working with change.
Yeah, it's like once you call out or discern what the universe is asking to be looked at that day, then you can go deeper. It's almost like, where is the words I use, like, where is the sticky part, or what is the part that's calling to be looked at? And in most people's lives, they have, what do they have? Like work, relationships, how, like they have this huge smorgasbord of things that they're always churning around with. And then to find that one little piece that's like, look at me, look at this. In terms of your ability to see, envisioning, when did that start as a practice? Because it sounds like before you knew, and what I see in you is like you just have this incredibly strong visioning. What is that like for you?
Uh, I I I tend to feel it, and then I'll see a glimpse of something. And then it's almost like a rush of information. So how do we put it together? So I actually just stop thinking about it and I just start speaking whatever it is that's coming that I'm receiving. So I use the vision as a launch pad, so to speak, but I don't, and I go back to it as a teaching point to anchor it in what the message is that's coming. So it's kind of the crux, if you will, and then I flesh it out from there with whatever it is that I'm hearing. I tend to just know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of it sometimes, like often the vision will be super symbolic or archetypal, but sometimes it's just like this idea of these tangled threads, and you just pull one little thread and follow where that goes. In terms of like, how do you, like, I find it's always on, like you can't really turn it off, but you can just, I guess you can sort of request that it's dialed down, but even then it's not really. How do you navigate the more linear world with this awareness?
Mm. I have a strong yoga practice, so I have to move my body. I pick up a lot of feelings. If I don't have that on per se, I pick up a lot of emotions and I tend to hold that. So I have to move it and work with that, that energetic for me physically. So sometimes I cry just because that's the best way for me to move that energy. So I can mute it. I am able to say, okay, that's not my stuff, not my information, but I always have to be pretty conscious about it. Because if I'm not, then I get that background stuff I was talking about. I get the emotional response that I have to then separate.
Yeah, like sometimes, say walking about in the town or the city, I'll come across a person maybe that's got a lot of super conflicted or dark, angry energy, and you'll just, even from a street away, you'll just see it, and then I'll just choose to kind of disengage, like you said, like that's not mine unless I'm asked to help. Specifically, I'll probably just sort of, I almost turn myself invisible, I guess would be, it's kind of, I just go transparent. I don't do protection or, I just go transparent and ask the universe, like, if it's mine to help with, yes, I will. But if it's not my karmic path to engage, I notice, and then I kind of, I don't know, transparent. That's the best I can think of. Like I just go invisible, like whoop, not disassociation, massive disassociation, I suppose, but just not wanting my energy, not wanting to be noticed that I'm noticing, because people pick up on that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I learned that aspect from you because I used to do the shielding and then if I didn't, I'd have a story about, oh, I forgot. And so the transparent aspect of it allows me to be with it and to be part of it, but not to hold it, not to pick it up, not to have any kind of stickiness of my own with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. How have you navigated? I mean, this has been a really difficult, like a time at this recording, we're in 2021 at the end, but how have you navigated this year? How have these practices or your awareness helped you navigate just everything that, all the massive group energy that we've been feeling. What's that been like for you?
I would say that practice is very helpful. My practice is very helpful with that, because without it, I can't sort out, like I said earlier, what's mine, what's not mine, what's group. And it's not even that. It's like, what is it, the dynamic of the people that I'm interacting with versus what is the societal energies that's happening. So it's given me a greater awareness of, I guess, the individual nature of my energy, the nature of the group energy, social change, what's happening on that level. And really a lot of quiet, a lot of time spent by myself. I'm really not a very big social person. So I tend to need to have space and energy for myself to go within so that I can be available for this service, this gift, if you will.
Yeah, I find that too. I don't know that I'm always in meditation because I'm not, but that quiet stillness where you can just kind of relax and be kind of be in that other dimension where the guides exist or where the other realms exist in relaxation, like it's a place of respite or a place of repose. It's not necessarily, oh, I'm in meditation, I'm not here. I'm here, but I'm also attached to this other realm that we're familiar with or that we go to. And that's so supportive, that stillness that's full, I guess. I'm not sure how to say that.
It's rich. It's very, yes.
Yeah. What is your relationship to, so a couple things. So the departed, for example, or the ancestral world, or energetic beings such as guides, or it's a long list because I just don't know which you want to focus on more. Animals, nature. What things are showing up for you, like, this is what I'm loving working with right now? And energy in the body, what's all of it?
I love that you asked that, because literally just before I signed on to this call, this beautiful swarm of ladybugs just around my window. I mean, hundreds of them. And so right now, and recently it's been bees. For the past couple months, I've been seeing a lot of bees. And so I have to say it's the natural world that I'm working with right now, and allowing the nature and the universe to speak to me in that regard. And it feels like such a new language. I can look up, what does the bee mean? And I can ask myself, well, bees live in community and all those aspects of it. Mostly right now, I'm in the wonder of it, just unfolding.
Yeah, or bees are, just be, right? Just be.
You are.
Yeah, I know. I go for a walk. I talk about this to the groups that we've been in a lot at this park, and every time I see this great gray heron, it probably is the same one, but it's in different spaces. And I realize, like, I see this every time, but I know that other people don't see, like, I've mentioned it to people who go there and like, what are you talking about? I've never seen a heron there. And it's like, every time, no matter where I am, it's like, there it is. And that's sort of been my animal totem for the year. So when you are dealing with a problem for yourself, or a problem or a question or a query, what's your process?
I always sit. When I say sit, I don't formally meditate, but I have a conversation. So I'll write out my questions, and then I'll have a conversation with the different parts of me, with my soulful self. And so it's kind of, and then I'll write it down. So it'll be a back and forth. And it helps me to get out of my thinking mind and to be able to be more receptive to that higher self that wants to communicate with me. So that is my go-to for accessing knowledge, definitely, wisdom.
What happens when you are in a spot where you know change is coming, for example, in your own life, and you can see, like, you have a glimmer of or a knowing, but that change hasn't, it's almost like your knowing is advanced of the actual reality that's happening. How do you, or yeah, let's start with that one. Go, how do you deal with that?
How do we deal with that? Sometimes better than others. Sometimes
Yeah.
like, sometimes like, oh, okay, there's something happening here. I don't know what it is, but it's okay. But it's okay. I could ride this wave. I don't need to do anything with it other than just acknowledge it or notice it. Other times I want to hurry up and what can I do to get this, to move or happen faster? I always go back to journaling. I do a lot of writing because that is the way that, like I said, I get out of the way. I can listen, I can receive, and put down the stuff that gets in between, so to speak.
Yeah. So you're kind of doing a pretty continual, the journaling is a receiving and a clearing. The body, your own practice, is a receiving and clearing. The work in your own form of meditation and receiving, it's like this continual, the nature, it's like you're continually in this place of flow. Do you think it's been that way for a long time for you, or is this more how you've come to live in more recent years as you've deepened yourself?
Oh, definitely only recent years. I did not grow up.
Right. Yeah.
I had, but
Yeah.
I stumbled around quite a bit. But these years that you mentioned earlier, where we are, self-isolating and living in changing times, and that actually has been helpful for me to deepen my practice, and really I deepen my relationship with myself. And I know you talk about, and that the divine is part of that. So the deeper that I can go in relationship with me, the deeper I go in relationship with the divine. And that is the richness. That's the soil for me.
Yeah. Well, look, I've been feeling lately a lot of things are being called almost like, now obviously there's no marker because we're fluid, infinite beings over many lifetimes, but a lot of the things that happened, like in my life in the past, that were maybe difficult or challenging, and you kind of sift through them and heal them and release them and blah blah blah, and now I'm finding, after this period of these last couple years of being so isolated, I'm really ready. It's like a whole chunk of, it's like, okay, thank you for this part of life, and I don't even need to relate to that, the relationships, the people, it just feels like it's just done, like we're kind of opening into a new door. Is that resonating at all with you, or what is that?
Definitely, like, check, close.
Yeah.
Move on. And the that we are interbeing, it feels like it's shifting for me. We're shifting up, so to speak.
Yeah. Tell me that word, interbeing. Say that again. What does that mean to you? Just to make sure everybody's kind of connecting on the same page.
Good question. So I believe that I am one of the one, and one is all of this: you, me, the trees, the earth, the sky, and one is spirit, divine, me, you. So I'm one of that one. So I'm an aspect of that one. And so for me, interbeing is all of the oneness of us being in connection and relationship and flow with every other aspect of us. So that's how I use the expression interbeing, the way that we relating.
That's exactly what I feel too. And for me, it's not just, it also includes all the non-conscious things, because they also have consciousness, even though it's different than ours. And, all time dimensions and all dimensions, not just here we are on planet Earth, this lifetime. It's just the whole universe as one thing, which is kind of remarkable that we get to have this. I mean, we're just humans, right? So we're probably pretty limited. But even so, we get to have this, when we turn our awareness to that instead of to the mundane, challenging little problem of the day, when we turn our attention to that awe or that, just like, oh my gosh, it's really amazing to feel that expansion. It's just astounding, really. It's just interesting.
That's what does it for me. It's when I get caught up in maybe I feel frustrated, I feel tight, I feel worried, concerned, nervous, scared, whatever. It's that reconnecting with that essential nature in all of us, that oneness. And I know none of that other stuff, it doesn't matter. It's not who I am. It's not real. It's just a construct.
Right.
And when I can remember that and connect to that, oh, wow.
Yeah. And that practice of like, the more you connect to it, the more you're connected, the more you can connect to it. And it's like almost like that idea of walking through the new door. It's like, this is where I want to live. Like in your words, I want to live in interbeing. I want to live as one of one. That's where I want to hang out all the time. And then finally, I think, how do you help people, or not even help, but so often I come across lots of regular people in the world who don't have this idea or haven't walked this part of the path yet. How do you, what's your approach to people that are just starting to get a glimpse of this, or because sometimes I find when I go too far out there, it's just, you can't hear what you don't know or something like that. Do you have a certain way you approach that?
Story. I definitely start with story. And I like to use allegory or maybe a visual. I'll give a visual example. So absolutely, I will start wherever that person is. I do find in general, if somebody's connected with me, that's not a mistake.
Right.
That's universe, that's divine, that's source saying, hey, there's something here for the two of you that you can work on. So there's always some nugget that will come from the interaction for me and also for that other person. So whatever it is that they bring, there's always an answer. Like, so whatever question, the answers are always happening. My job, as you say, is to help them to hear what that answer is. And so I guess I would use it as far as that story about how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. So it's like, okay, let's start with this. Okay, let's start with this. And then when you have that, okay, what about this? Can we take that a little step further? Could we maybe associate it with this?
Right.
And so fleshing it out, so to speak.
Yeah. I like to look at it. It's probably in like Hallmark movies, but like one person has the key and one person has the lock, and we are just continually unlocking each other's locks. All, you and I, everyone will meet today. It's just, we're continually opening that part for each other. Well, Rachel, this has been so delightful to talk with you. I will put all the information on how to reach you if people want to work with you below in the text. But thank you so much for being part of this Visionary Psychic series. And I just really appreciate your time. Thank you.
It's an honor. Thank you, Sara.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.